The craft of making sporting guns as we know them today was particularly developed in the Victorian and Edwardian ages. At that time, the sport of game shooting became both more popular and more fashionable for a variety of reasons, not least because it enjoyed royal patronage. It was during this time that William Evans decided to set up on his own, having learnt his craft by working for James Purdy and Son and Holland and Holland. Most famously, Frederick Beasley, who used to have a shop very close to where we are now, developed a gun which looked in profile much like this beautiful William Evans gun. He sold the design for his gun to Purdy's, and it became their famous sidelock. Soon after that, Holland and Holland developed their Royal gun. It went through various stages, and it was profoundly influential too, as was the Purdy gun. And then other great makers, like William Evans, started to make these supremely beautiful classic English sidelock sporting guns. And really, this technology was evolved to its peak before 1900. And the guns that we make today are really little different to those guns made more than 100 years ago. At this time, the backbone to William Evans' client list was firmly established, notably with Guards officers who often ordered sporting guns and rifles before being posted to various parts of Empire. Today, William Evans has taken a lead amongst British gun makers by producing an affordable English-finished over and under. Here's Alistair Phillips, who runs the gun room at William Evans in London, to describe the St James over and under shotgun.
Well, I mean, the classic characteristics that we were looking for was to have a nice straight line, so a rounded pistol grip rather than the full pistol grip, which is classic to most over and unders. We wanted the, I use the term loosely, but the Prince of Wales grip or semi-pistol grip. And also another characteristic that we were keen on having was the rounded forend. Another attractive feature that's normally on English over and unders is the solid rib, solid game rib. And also a slender stock shape as well. That's ties in with a game gun. The idea is to have it as light as possible to make it sort of quick and fleeting for every type of quarry that you're pointing it at. Well, initially we looked at a lot of the gun makers in the UK and very quickly realised that to produce one at the sort of the price band that we were hoping for wasn't going to be possible. So we then looked further afield towards Italy. And came across a company called Cesar Guerini and teamed up with them. Well, the idea really behind it was to sort of bring William Evans into current times. The over and under, as I think we've all established now, is very, very popular. It's almost more popular than the side-by-side out in the field these days. So being able to produce an over and under that was slightly more affordable to the mass market really appealed to us. But really what we were looking for was something that had the classic lines of what you'd expect an English over and under to look like, and we found that the Guerini possessed those characteristics or features that sort of followed with what we had in mind better than the the AYAs or other brands. The main thing is the handling characteristics, build quality, and all that sort of thing, and to find that within the price band was actually very difficult. Cesar Guerini were very understanding in the fact that we had to give as much quality as possible. So they've actually sort of in the interest of the project growing with them, we've kept it at the lowest price band as possible. All the engraving is actually done in Valtrompia at the house of Gianelli, and they've used guns that we've built in the past. And actually, this one in particular was taken from a gun that we built in 1910 for the then Duke of Connaught, which is a best William Evans.
And the incredible thing about the St James is that it's priced from just over £10,000. Shooting's a traditional sport and it has a dress code. It's part of the fun. But there's plenty of room for style and individuality. Most guns, as we call ourselves, wear a tweed jacket of some description and tweed breeks. These days, +2s are in shooting fashion. They usually stop a couple of inches below the knees. Any longer and you risk being taken for a 1920s golfer. The matching tweed waistcoat that guns once wore has generally been replaced by a jumper, or in some cases a fleece. Your tweed coat or jacket need not exactly match the breeks, though you may think it better that it does. My own preference is to wear a shooting vest because of the freer arm movement whenever possible. As for shirts, you can't go wrong with a tattersall pattern in a natural fibre, of course. Ties, and you should wear one on a formal day, and the long stockings that go with +2s are areas for self-expression, as indeed are hats. I like a trilby, but most prefer a cap. Then there's women's clothing. Here's Sally Travers-Healy of William Evans kitting out 2 girls for a shoot day.
Very smart, waterproof boots, warm socks, probably an overcoat would be good as well in case it rains, and then your lovely hat, which you might want to try on to see the overall effect. There we go, have a look at yourself.
Thank you, that's lovely.